Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our new call-in number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. So we'll start off this morning with the Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Scar, are you with us? Commissioner Olson, are you with us? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Commissioner, we can hear you.
Excellent. Well, I don't know then if my fellow commissioners are with us or not. So we'll just jump right in with Adventist Health. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Great. 16 patients in the hospital today, plus one brand new baby. We have 7 surgery cases scheduled today. Ambulance crews did 18 911 transports yesterday, 1 transfer, no transports home. Across Oregon, there's 139 patients boarding in emergency departments. It's 11 more than yesterday. And there's 427 patients who are waiting to be discharged but have no place to go. That's 15 less than yesterday. Let's see. Dr. David Bradburn is retiring at the end of the month. And Dr. Bradburn, I think he's been here for 29 years. I can't remember the exact date. But he's decided it is time to retire. And so there will be a reception that's open to the public on February 1st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Plaza. So if you want to come and wish Dr. Bradburn well and eat some good treats, that's the time to do it. Again, it's February 1 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Plaza. Today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so I just want to say thanks to all of our law enforcement folks who are out there working and keeping us safe. Appreciate the great work that they do. So with that, unless you have questions, that's all I've got for you this morning.
Thank you so much, Eric. And thanks for mentioning that it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. I did not know that, and I would like to join you in thanking all of our law enforcement officials, public safety officials for the excellent, stressful, dangerous, hard work they do that's so important to our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, we will, good morning.
Good morning. This is Commissioner Scar. My computer decided to reboot this morning. And I do know that Commissioner Olson is on. He said you were not hearing him, but he's on as well.
Well, fabulous, and welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we can move. Okay. We've got somebody unmuted, so please mute your phones, unless you are Senator Weber or someone from the Coastal Caucus, because we're moving right into the Coastal Caucus now.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can.
Oh, good. I also want to echo my appreciation for the law enforcement team we have here in Tillamook County, and actually throughout the district. I have had many good conversations with all of the counties concerning our law enforcement. And last week, I was able to visit the Washington County Community Correction Center and have a tour of that, along with, I think there were 35 other people who were legislative representatives or legislators. And I can't stress enough what these people are doing for our community.
He just unmuted himself.
So positive.
And then muted on his own
and
phone.
And that we do have room for improvement.
Okay.
But all of that is going to come with additional funds. And so we continually have to be looking for funds to be able to support our safety and our law enforcement workers. So just another note on that. It's been a relatively quiet week. And some of it has been because I haven't had computer or internet also, which makes it kind of difficult when you're this far away from the source of the meetings. But being able to travel to the valley to some of these meetings has been very helpful. I have been working on civil commitment. There is a move to repeal the Civil Commitment Act as it stands now, and there's a lot of work being done on that, and you will get more information on that in the future, because just like a lot of other things right now in the legislature, it's in flux. People are saying to me, well, why aren't you telling us what kind of bills are coming forward? Well, actually, this week begins Ledge Week, and this is when we find out, because we have legislators that are going to need us to support what they're bringing forward. And I've told you before, and I don't expect you to remember, we only have 2 bills that we can bring forward in this short session, because the goal of a short session is to deal with things that need to be fixed and budgetary issues. And then the governor has called for us to work especially on housing issues, homeless services, and the 110 measure that needs fixed. And so those are going to be the big issues that are going to be coming forward. And when we look at housing especially, it goes deeper than just providing a house, because so much building cannot be accomplished, especially along the coast, because of our infrastructure issues, our water and our sewer, and the fact that for 50 years we have felt that we're secure in those areas, and we haven't made all of the necessary changes to our water and our sewer systems to be able to add additional housing. So that is an issue that is going to be very visible, very highly discussed in this session. And relating to that, I'm sure you've all heard on TV, radio, and newspaper about the Evergreen Acres water compromise with the 47 households in Jewel who are they don't have access to water. And with 3,500 small water districts or water districts in our state, how are they being monitored to make sure that all water quality is safe for people? So that's one issue that I have been working on. As I said, Ledge Week begins today. And today is also 2 important meetings, the Tillamook Working Lands and Water Coalition today. And you know this is also an integral part of our community and our county's success with our farms, our forests, our fish working together. And it is something that has a lot of investment by the people in this area. And so that is meeting today, and so is the Clatsop County Working Water Coalition meeting today. I will be leaving for Salem today because meetings start this afternoon, and then tomorrow is going to be filled with getting acquainted with bills that are being brought forward in this session, because as you know, everyone who has a bill needs support for that bill. And so we will be listening to a lot of legislators introduce their bills to us and ask for their support. And so this is a very important time, because it will not only educate us as to the needs of the community, but how we can fix some of those things. You know that I have 2 bills. One is for the recognition of someone for the highway, and it's a resolution, so it's not really a bill. Hopefully it will go forward. Some sessions they don't forward resolutions, but so far we are finding that they are going to this session. And the other one is for a highway bill study on Highway 30. The county commissioners in that area, for the most part, believe sorry, we're having a Martin moment. Martin? Didn't you know? But anyway, it's very important to be able to provide safety for the people that are traveling on Highway 30. I want it, Thursday is my full meeting day with all of my committees and the Water Caucus and the Washington County Caucus also. So it'll be from 7:30 in the morning until late in the evening. And then Friday I'll also have meetings because I am on the Early Literacy Educators Preparation Council, which is looking at how we are going to go forward to improve, especially our reading and our math skills, and what we need to do to be able to educate our educators that are coming into the system as to what is necessary. We've had many meetings on this through the summer, and I think we're getting closer to making recommendations to the Higher Education Council as to what is needed, especially for educator preparation. Saturday, it's the chamber banquet. It's always a good time, always good to have businesses and people from the community get together and do that important networking over good food, and to be able to recognize the people within the community that have done exemplary work over the years. So another thing on Saturday is Arella Chadwick's funeral, and I don't know how many of you know Arella. Arella was 104 when she passed on Christmas Eve, and she has been a moving force in this community and in our farming community forever. She was a teacher. If you have an opportunity to read about someone who has really made a mark in Tillamook County, I think you should go and find her obituary and see what she has done. Her funeral is at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon at the Methodist Church, and her family would appreciate seeing you. And there we have it for another week. Thank you again for the opportunity to bring these things forward. I appreciate it. So, there you go.
Thank
and
you,
I apologize
Senator.
for the Martin moment.
That's okay. You know, it made me smile. Martin was muffled, so no worries. It wasn't disruptive at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions?
Thank you. Indeed. Do we have any questions for Senator Weber? Well, I appreciate you bringing up Arella Chadwick's funeral. I will also be there, and Arella was just a treasure and over a century, leadership of over a century. And I know so many people who were moved by her, who were their lives, they benefited from her teaching and from her kindness and from her friendship and from her service in the community. And
Commissioner Bell, you're muted now.
oh, thank you for telling me. I had the opportunity to attend Arella's birthday party this summer, her 104th birthday party, and it was just a joyful occasion. And she was in good health and good spirits, and she recognized everyone, and she had conversations with people, and she remembered where she'd met me, and we talked about things, and it was just completely joyful. So what a lovely, long life, and what a legacy of service to our community. So God bless Arella Chadwick and everyone who loves her family, and everyone who's grieving her. So I imagine I'll see a number of you at her service on Saturday. Do we happen to have Representative Javity?
I'm here.
Hey, wonderful. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to hear you.
Thank
I I need to get a hold of you two offline, so I'll be reaching out to you just to set up a time to meet. But that being said, I appreciate Senator Weber going first. She makes my job so easy. She's been a great mentor, and I can't wait to see her later this week. I've got my notes right here. So I think she covered most of it. I will just do my highlights, specifically email issues. People have been reaching out. They continue to be concerned about things like Measure 110, what's going to be done about it. I think it's going to be a big topic this short session. Measure 110, for those who don't recognize it by its title name, is the measure that decriminalized certain drugs and also created a stream of money to create services related to addiction and recovery. And so the big issue there for most people as they're reading through their emails is, hey, we don't think that decriminalizing drugs is working the way we wanted it to. What are we going to do about it? And I think that is going to be one of the hotly debated topics in the short session about recriminalizing it, getting it off of public streets, and but trying to keep the funds in place so we can continue to fund some of the projects that have already been started, as Commissioner Scars pointed out, and other commissioners as well as other legislators. So that is on the menu for the short session. So stay abreast, watch the news, and I'll try to give you updates on these Tuesday calls. Also, still getting lots of emails about recreational immunity. This means a lot to a lot of people. We like access to our coastal beaches and hiking, and this is something that every legislator I've talked with has also been hearing from their constituents, and this is something that I also hope will get patched or fixed in the short session. Senator Weber mentioned that this is the week that we kind of find out what everybody's got planning for the short session. Everyone's been kind of keeping it close to the vest, and they have to reveal what it is this week. So we're going to get our first look, just like everybody else is, at what might be discussed. And this is something that I'm hoping will be in somebody's bill. And I know that there's a couple of groups, like the League of Oregon Cities and the Association of Counties, that will have been trying to put something together here. So I'll put to that, as I'm sure the county commissioners will as well, and Senator Weber. I've been getting emails about the county roads. Kudos to our commissioners and our county roads department for the great work they did up there on the Miami Foley. And I know that they've got lots in store for Sand Lake Road, and I won't steal their thunder. I'll let them talk about that. But also, a great job reaching out to the governor. I know I heard last week that that she approved that state of emergency for several counties, including us, so that'll help for sure. So thank you for doing that. Last night I went to a Lions Club meeting in South County, a great group of people down there, and they had all sorts of questions and issues, everything ranging from, hey, what's going on with Medicare Advantage, and how do our senior citizens, who can they go to for that insurance, as well as all sorts of things like the roads, and they've got some issues down on the corners in Pacific City with residents blocking visibility on certain roads, so something to continue to follow up on there. But to wrap things up, my two bills, I guess I wanted to just highlight, are going to be directed at the ones at the Habitat Conservation Plan. This is something that, I've gotten more emails about this issue probably than any other, and I know I talked about it on this call several times, so I don't want to belabor what it is, but I think, last week there was an Oregon Department of Forestry hearing where people were able to offer up testimony. They've said they're not going to take any more testimony from the public at this point. They've heard what they need to hear. I've been talking with State Forester as well as others about it, and while we don't know exactly what plan will be adopted, it's likely going to be the plan that's been in the works, which is, if it is adopted, means a grant reduction in how much trees we get to cut down, and that means counties are going to see a reduction in the revenue they receive, which is going to impact services. And it also means that private, the private economy is going to also be impacted, and to what extent will remain to be seen. So one of my bills is aimed at making sure that the state meets the harvest levels that they have outlined in this habitat conservation plan. So if you think of it as kind of like a high water mark, what they've said is, hey, we predict that this will be the harvest level that will be happening every year, but the habitat conservation plan doesn't hold their feet to the fire and say, this is what you have to make sure is sold to in timber sales. And my bill says, yeah, you're going to have to make sure that these levels are met because our communities depend on this. So I'm right now working hard with my staff to drum up support. I've got some bipartisan interest from Democrats and Republicans. I think this is a good bill to make sure that we call it kind of a good governance bill. And I'm hoping that we can get some key legislators on that so that we can get this passed. And there should be a hearing in February. I will try to get the word out when that is so people can tune in and even testify if they want about how important timber is to our communities. So, and then the other bill I have is directed at a health concern that affects a lot of people, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. This is something that can really affect people's lives later in life, and what this will do is direct resources towards helping people with that condition. And this is, we only get two bills. This is one of those bills that, while it's important, I would have also loved to have the recreational immunity bill tucked in here, but we kind of missed the deadline on that. And so I'm going to, even though I can only introduce two bills, I plan to support whatever other bill at recreational immunity is available. And I also have another bill I'm looking to support that will help us with prescription overdoses. So I will get more details on that in the future, but I don't want to take too much time up on this call. So I also met last week with Jim Scar and Jerry Dunn. We had a great chat about the Whiskey Creek Hatchery and how the hatchery programs work here and how vital they are to our fisheries. And so I appreciate their time and energy and effort on that. And so we'll continue to look at that, making sure that the fisheries and the hatcheries, et cetera, are continuing to be supported by the state and local resources as appropriate. So that is all I've got. Happy to take any questions before I run off and start fixing people's teeth.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your message. And are there any questions for Representative Javidi? Thanks for your good work. It was interesting to hear about your bills, and we will look forward to hearing the updates on those as the session progresses.
All right. Thanks, Commissioner. You guys have a great evening. Evening and day and morning. So watch out for the storms.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, with that, we will move into the Tillamook County Community Health Center.
Hello, Commissioners. This is Ed Colson here.
Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, Tillamook County. To start off our health department update, we have been receiving an increased number of requests for COVID-19 related services in the county. So as always, we remind everyone to please wash your hands, stay home when ill, and stay up to date on vaccines. We do have COVID-19 test kits that still remain available for free at all library branches, as well as from our health center. Now, we are extremely excited to partner with CARE Again for their annual Houseless Connect event, and that's coming up on Wednesday, January 24th at the Tillamook Fairgrounds. This event is the point in time count which can determine funding and support Tillamook receives from state and federal government sources for this community. And it's also a large-scale resource fair and clinic, and we're thrilled to provide our services at this event again. CARE is actively taking donations such as warm clothes, blankets, and pet food. So for more information, or if your organization would like to participate, we ask that you please reach out to either Jeff or Elizabeth at CARE. And lastly, our offices will be closed Monday, January 15th to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day. If you need to reach a provider on call, you can call us at 503-842-3900. And if you're having an emergency, please call 911, and we will resume our regular business hours on Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. As a reminder, this is a National Day of Service established to honor the life and legacy of Dr. King and to encourage all Americans to volunteer to improve their communities. So we encourage everyone to take some time today to consider the needs of your community and then find out what you can do to help. And this could be participating in a volunteer event, picking up litter in a park or beach, or even just checking in on a neighbor. And with that, we'll go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ed. Do we have any questions for Ed? I appreciate your messaging about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day and as a day of service, and for all of us to consider what can we do to make our community a better place. And sometimes those are big things, and sometimes they're small things. Sometimes they're small kindnesses. So I think it's a wonderful message. Thank you. Well, we have Gail from the Helen Bay Health Center and Pharmacy is not with us this morning, nor is Frank Hannah Williams from Tillamook Family Counseling Center. So we will move right into the Sheriff's Office report. Sheriff Brown, are you with us this morning?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. So I'm sure that everybody heard about the crash yesterday, I believe it was, with the two buses down in South County. I know that Chief Ader with Nestucca Fire put out a brief press release, and this call was not ours. We were not the lead agency. But if you listen to the scanner or follow Facebook at all, you probably have seen the information on that. I don't have a lot of information to share other than what was in Chief Ader's press release, and that two buses crashed and kids ended up getting treated, some taken to the hospital. So our first responders did a great job taking care of a large number of injured patients and passengers on those buses. So thank you to them for that. Excuse me. Last week I promised stats from this year, or at least kind of a small snapshot just to let everybody know what the Sheriff's Office has been doing. What I can say is for 2023, the total calls for service that the Sheriff's Office handled was 18,467. We worked 1,113 cases, and to clarify what that means is not every single call turns into a criminal case. A criminal case is a full investigation, a report that gets forwarded to the district attorney's office for consideration of charges. Sometimes other type of reports get wrote up, but that is what a case is. So 1,113 cases were submitted. 336 arrests were made in our county. We had 32 search and rescue incidences. And, excuse me, we dealt with or responded to those having some type of a mental crisis or suicidal type crisis. We responded to 184 of those this year. We also responded to 397 motor vehicle accidents over the year. You know, clearly that's a little more than one a day on average. The one call that increased tremendously over the last few years is our TAMI calls, which is child abuse type calls, whether it be sexual abuse or just physical abuse. The number of those was 486 that we responded to. A summary of a few property crimes, burglaries, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, which is essentially stealing a car, or theft calls. We handled 400 of those over the year. We had 2,276 traffic stops, as well as 865 business checks. Both the traffic stops and the business checks are self-initiated activity, or what we refer to as proactive policing. It's trying to keep people from speeding and driving erratically so that we prevent crashes, and business checks also help to prevent potential, burglaries or thefts, things of that nature, just by letting the public see our vehicle and showing that presence that we are out there. So that's just kind of, like I said, a snapshot of some of what we did last year. And of course, we're getting ready to come into this new year and see what to expect with that. As many remember, we did have a single homicide this year. In 2022, we had 2. Those cases take months, if not years, to work. So some of these we're still writing search warrants on, or writing reports and processing. We also had the officer-involved shooting this year as well. So it's been a busy year, and the type of calls are definitely a little different than what they were 10 years ago. But we're here, and we are working everything as hard as we can. Today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Today, and I just want to say thank you to my staff. My staff is amazing. I want to say thank you to our partner agencies. I want to say thank you to our community, because our community is amazing in their appreciation and support for the law enforcement. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. I would not want to be a cop in any other county. So that is a big deal, and we very much appreciate it. So with that, stay safe with the wind and the rain today, and I can take any questions if you have them.
Sheriff, thank you for that very informative report. I really appreciate you providing us with the numbers and sort of a snapshot of things that your office worked on this year. It's eye-opening to hear the numbers, and so I really appreciate that. You talked about child abuse cases being on the rise, and I was taking notes. You said 486 child abuse calls, and I wondered if you have a speculation, and I'm sure you would be speculating, about why so many more.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's pure speculation. There is ebb and flow. These numbers are the highest we've really ever seen. I can tell you last year there was 394 of those calls, and then in 2021 there was 322. So that is a dramatic jump. But the 2021 numbers, as well as the 2020, were lower than normal, and that had to do with kids not being in school because of COVID. And so reports were down because there was no contact with teachers or staff from schools, and so numbers went down. Before that, the numbers were up a little bit from what the COVID numbers were, but not at the level that they are now. So I don't really want to speculate, and I really honestly am not even sure what I would say as far as the speculation is concerned. It is a concerning number. So, and those are one of the highest priority type calls that we take, and those are all fielded by our detective office, and our detective's office is running short right now. So it's a priority type call, and like I said, I don't have any ideas or speculation on why.
Oh, that's fine. I knew I was putting you on the spot, and you would be speculating. So thank you for responding. It's certainly concerning, and
sure, yes,
yeah. I think it bears following up, and also I wanted to extend my gratitude to you as the leader of the Sheriff's Office, to all of our Sheriff's Office personnel, and to all law enforcement in Tillamook County. I'm deeply grateful for your outstanding work. Your work is stressful and difficult and dangerous and so very important. So thank you. On Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, we should be thanking you more often than once a year, but I publicly want to thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Do we have any questions for the Sheriff?
Commissioner Bell, if I may?
Please.
Thank you. So, good morning, Sheriff. I had the opportunity yesterday to be in Salem for the AOC steering committees, and in the Public Safety Steering Committee, we had a presentation on the cyber tip process at the department at DOJ and a request from them to support a funding ask so that they could support the investigations into those cyber crimes with children. So I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, I know Commissioner Bell already did, but maybe numbers to come back with. Are we seeing an increase in the cyber tips as well related to child sexual abuse, do you know, or could you find out?
I could probably find out. I don't know if the way we track our stuff, if it actually will separate where the calls are generated from, but I believe that that tip process can, we can probably show, and I can certainly see or discuss that with my detectives or my detective sergeant to see if those numbers can be tracked down. Just a speculation is that I do believe that they are going up because I hear my detectives talking about having to go through that information quite a bit more often, but I can confirm that with stats at some point.
Perfect. It would be wonderful if at all possible. We'll be meeting again a month from now at AOC, and it would be great to be able to say, Tullahoma County, even though we're a small rural county, we too are seeing a huge, an increase that's sizable. So that hopefully at the state level, we can support strongly this bill going through that would get, I think it adds 12 people to the staff at the state level who could then do some of that investigation and hopefully take some of that workload off your detectives that are struggling to keep up with everything. So thank you. Appreciate that.
You bet.
Anything else for the sheriff? If not, we'll say thank you, and we'll move on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe, are you with us?
Yes, good morning, Tillamook County.
Good morning.
To start off with, a little bit about our weather we've been having. I called the weather service this morning to get some last-minute updates, and luckily they're predicting that the Wilton will crest at the 9.87 feet, which is just below action stage. It took a dramatic rise last night, and I was really concerned, so I called them, and they said that it should peak right around the high tide time, which is at 10:28 today, and then they're predicting that it will fall after that high tide. The Nehalem, Trask, and Nestucca are all going to stay well below the action stage, so that was great to hear. I asked them about rainfall. They said 24-hour predicted is around 2 inches in the central part of the county and the east part of the county. And the rest of the county will get around 1.25 inches, he said. So we are going to get some large amounts of water, but it looks like it's not going to hopefully affect the rivers. So, but again, we'll just keep watching that and stay on top of that. And of course, our king tides are coming this Thursday and Friday, the 11th and 12th. So, of course, we'll probably see some coastal flooding due to the high surf on that. So, and with that, we have that high surf warning that's still in effect until 10 o'clock on the 10th, which is tomorrow. And our high wind warning, hopefully this is going to be accurate. It was in effect only till 4 p.m. today. So I'm hoping that we have a calm night tonight and not having branches being thrown everywhere. So, and with that, I noticed that we had quite a few outages overnight, spread out throughout the county. And so I'm hoping that everybody does sign up on the Tillamook PUD webpage to get those alerts that come out, because that will definitely give you an idea of where the outages are. They then kind of give you an estimation of when power will be back up. So that is a great tool to have. Like you say, the unfortunate thing is that you'll get alerts through the night, but that's sometimes a good thing to know that the power is out and an idea of when it's coming back on. And then lastly, I just heard over the radio that the Coast Guard has closed Tillamook Bay bar, to all vessels until the conditions subside. So they didn't give, of course, a time frame on that, but they just put out that the bar is closed to all vessels. And that was, again, based upon the conditions off the coast, and also the ability for Coast Guard to get out and do any types of rescues. So they are telling that the ships that are out, they get to stay there for a little while and watch their crab pots, and hopefully they'll be able to get that bar opened fairly soon. So with that, just be very careful out there. We still have wind going. We still have a lot of rain. And looking at that, if you are going to travel out of wonderful Tillamook Valley here, just be careful because those passes will be snow covered. They're looking at snow levels coming down enough later on this week that even Highway 6 at the top will probably see some snow up there. So just always trip check, Oregon trip check before you go, and it'll give you an idea and show you those wonderful pictures of snow-covered roads and cars slid off the side of the road, and so you'll know not to go that route. So anyway, again, just be extremely careful and safe out there over the next few days. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Randy. Somebody asked me this morning about anticipated snow in Tillamook County on Saturday. So I've read a couple different reports. I wonder if you have anything to say about that.
Just that they're saying that there is a possibility. They keep not being too exact on it because, of course, they're not sure where the models are going on it. But I would expect that we should probably see some snow activity even on the floors here in the county, through the tail end of this week. They're saying that the snow levels could come down to valley floor, and then they change their mind and say maybe about 500 feet. So again, I would just be extremely careful, and I would watch out for that. I will. I've been updating the county's Facebook account quite frequently with trying to get the most up-to-date information out to everybody. And so, like I say, for right now, that's the latest I've heard, is that we could see some snow in valley floor this weekend, but not any type of accumulation, and definitely not like what we had in the spring. So but like I say, I'll just keep looking at that, and you can check our emergency management Facebook account because I'll have all those updates there.
Thank you, Randy. Do we have any questions for Randy? If not, we can move into the Board of Commissioners report. Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Housing Commission meeting from last week because it was super exciting. We had 4 more presentations from developers who are interested in building housing in Tillamook County, and we're looking for contributions from our multi-family rental housing fund. We had 98 units proposed at this meeting, which was really exciting. 60 of those were in 60 of those were in an affordable housing complex, and the remainder would be workforce housing. The other piece that's exciting is, if you remember, I talked about this about a month ago, and we had 56 units proposed in that meeting, all of which were workforce housing. So we're really looking at a significant number of proposed units, not to say that all of them will necessarily make it all the way through the process, but we have our fingers crossed. We have about $400,000 to grant, which is not enough to make all of these happen, but we are actively seeking other partners who are interested in making a contribution to the housing development fund so that we can hopefully fund as many of these as possible. In no situation would we be funding the entire development, but all of these folks are asking for something to subsidize and support bringing this housing to Tillamook County. So I know that there's still a lot of struggle out there. I know that people are still really having a hard time finding housing, and I know that this is not going to solve everything, but I do want people to know that there's a lot of work happening. There are a lot of interested parties who want to develop in Tillamook County, and we are seeing people come to Tillamook County because we have things like the rental fund. We have Parker Salmons, who is our housing coordinator, who will help support them in the development process. Just, we're making it as developer friendly as we can, and we're seeing that work. So that's very exciting, and we will be making decisions on awards from that fund in February. So exciting stuff. I spent Friday and yesterday at the Association of Oregon County Steering Committees. There is a lot of information, a lot of things popping that will be bills that will be dropped in this short session. You heard both Senator Weber and Representative Javity talk about bills for the short session. We learned a lot yesterday, and really as all 36 counties worked to see if we had a combined voice to support different bills that will be in the legislature. It is a powerful statement for bills when all 36 counties come together and say, we support that. So a lot of work yesterday just learning about concepts that were out there. I mentioned the cyber tip bill was one that we supported in hopes that that funding package will go through. There's also some work on the public safety side to introduce a bill that would stabilize community corrections funding. Right now it changes from year to year based on projected caseload, trying to recognize that's damaging to local public safety, and that really it needs to be a different model that keeps sustainable, stable funding. So hopefully that bill will move forward and we'll make it through the short session. There were a number of concepts related to fixing Measure 110. We heard, I believe it was the senator, maybe both senator and representative, mentioned this morning that Measure 110 is having some very negative unintended consequences. Again, working to get all 36 counties on the same page of what we will support is no small task, but we did a really good job, I think, of working over the last year to come together and talk about what's important. And as Representative Javity referenced, keeping funding for treatment is important, but providing an incentive through what law enforcement can do to help people find their way to treatment is also important. So there were a number of concepts that we supported. The actual text for what is being suggested in the legislature should be coming out this week as Legislative Concept 61. So once we have that in hand, we'll have a better opportunity to really look at the actual language. Right now, what we've been looking at and supporting are concepts. So waiting for real language to come through. There are a lot of, again, as I said, a lot of committees at AOC that we looked at a variety of different things. There is a recreational immunity concept that we also moved to support. There is a bill that I don't know how many people realize, but one of the things that happens at the county is we receive foreclosed properties. It's about a 5-year process. We don't like to take properties from people, but if we go through this long process of attempting to help people, help them figure out how they can pay their taxes and keep their property, if in fact they're unable to do that, it comes to the county. Historically, under Oregon law, we sell those properties and distribute the proceeds to our various taxing districts. There was in this past year a Supreme Court decision that changed that and said that once those properties are sold, any excess proceeds, rather than following our state law and being distributed, needed to be sent to the person from whom the property was foreclosed. That's often quite challenging because a lot of foreclosed properties that we receive, the owner we're unable to reach the owner. It could be because someone passed and there's no clear heirs. It could be because someone had bought a piece of property with the intent of developing it, has long since moved and moved and moved again without letting us know. There's a variety of things that make it very challenging. So there is a bill being written to try to create an orderly process for folks who are the previous owner to come forward and claim the revenue from that if they wish to do so. That's one that's very important to all counties and to Tillamook County. We currently are not selling properties. We are holding them until we can determine what the impacts are of this Supreme Court decision. So hopefully the state bill, if it passes, will give us the guidance we need and the legal backing that we need to move into a new process. Gosh, there's just so many. I won't try to go through them all. There is a housing package coming out of the governor's office that has some concepts that would help, again, with housing. We will know more about that when I talk to you in February. So I'll just say that there's a lot out there, a lot of good information. I will be following up with a number of different agencies in our community that would be impacted by proposed bill concepts so that I can help carry their voice to Salem to make sure that we are supporting things that support our community and we are opposing things that create hardships in our community. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Commissioner Scar? If not, we can move on to Commissioner Olson.
Oh, good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me now? I think I fixed the tech issue.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, very good. My second week on the job here, excuse me, what I've been doing is, among other things, I'm going to the city councils so that they can put a face with a name. I was in Manzanita last week, and I think I'll do Rockaway Beach this week, and then Garibaldi next week, and try to get all 7 of them here over the first few weeks. Separate from that, I've also started meeting with various departments, and for example, tonight I'll be at the Fair Board, and believe it or not, the county fair has meetings year-round. They have things going on year-round, and of course they plan well in advance for the county fair. I'll talk in a minute about the roads because that's a big deal this time of year. Commissioner Scar mentioned the foreclosure sales and how that works, and that's become quite an issue among counties recently, as she pointed out. So more to come on that one. I'll talk now a little bit about our roads, and that is one of the departments that over which I have liaison responsibilities. We have a really good roads department, although it's much smaller than it was many years ago. But as you've heard from various people already this morning, we're in the middle of winter. Things are happening. There are power outages, there are road failures, and all kinds of things. And there's 3 major road issues in the county as of the moment. The first is the Miami Foley, which failed. There was a culvert that washed out, and that's been now several weeks ago, and it's actually back in service. Miami Foley is the road that's, as most of you know, that you turn just south of Garibaldi, right off 101. It follows the Miami River up. A culvert failed, and the waters took out about, 30 or 40 feet of road. As it turned out, there was engineering already complete for replacing that bridge, and so it was a fairly straightforward matter to bring in a contractor who had also been selected and replace it. So in about 10 days, they actually replaced a road washout and got it serviceable and structurally sound to take the traffic. So that's story number 1. I guess there's some detail work to be done, but it's open and working, and that was a really good thing. A second major area is up on Three Rivers, which is on Highway 22 from Hebo over to the valley. There's a community there around Big Trout Road of about 35 or 40 homes. And as rivers do, they meander and change course. And it turns out Three Rivers over the last few years in high water events has changed its course and has threatened a couple of homes in that area. And so our road department, together with some state and I think even some federal people, are looking at what are the options to either shore that up or even go so far as to buy the homes and relocate the people. So more to come on that one. But the bigger issue now, at least for people in South County, is Sand Lake Road. Sand Lake Road is the one that runs parallel to the ocean from Tierra del Mar, actually north of that as you turn off Highway 101 and head out towards the ocean. You go onto Sand Lake Road and come through Sand Lake area, Tierra del Mar, and then on into Pacific City. In early December, the northbound lane just south of Tierra del Mar and a bit north of Pacific City gave way and slid down the hillside onto the beach. And so the road was closed, and it remains closed. But here's what's happening on that, the latest. As of late last week, the state of Oregon declared that as a statewide emergency, along with a few other situations in other counties. And what that means is the checkbook of the state of Oregon then becomes available to help fund the repairs. And the repairs will be done in 2 stages. The first is a temporary, but really a pretty solid repair, and that starts sometime next week. The engineering is well underway, and what it will do, it will shore up the side that has gone. If you've seen that particular slide, roughly half the road, the northbound lane, gone. The southbound lane is intact, at least visually. However, it's closed, and there is some danger if you were to drive over it, which evidently some people have been doing at their considerable peril. But the fix is to come in and put a number of what they call nails deep into the soil and begin plugging and drainage, and then put up a wall reinforcement system on the side that has given way. So if you can visualize, what that means is there would be a road passable that would be the one lane which is now on the east side of the road. And it would be controlled by lights at either end, traffic lights on an individual, independent structure. And the way that would work is either by visualizing the cars through some radar system, or perhaps just a timer. So that would relieve the detour, which now goes from Pacific City all the way back up to 101 and up. And that would save a lot of people, including those who can commute from Pacific City north or vice versa. A lot of people in Tierra del Mar get their services and mail in Pacific City. So sometime in mid-March, if all goes well, we'll be able to go across that failure and do it safely, and it will be reinforced. And the cost for that, engineers estimate, would be somewhere around $600,000 to as much as $700,000 or $750,000. Then there's the issue of the permanent long-term fix, and that's still being engineered. But what it looks like is there will need to be a large retaining wall placed on the side of the road, the ocean side of the road, and it will be could be as long as a football field, 100 yards. And that will cost well into the millions and will require significant engineering and work with the state because of the access on the beach and so on. So that's probably 18 months out, maybe even a little more. But with any luck, we hope to have that road open in the middle of March coming up. And so that will be a really good thing. And I will tell you that getting to know our road people and what they do and the considerable risk they take going out in the middle of the night to deal with these things, they're every bit as important to all of us as a first responder. So I think with that, without going into any more detail, I'll sign off for this morning, Commissioner, and we'll address our community again next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Do we have any questions for Doug? All right. Well, Doug, we may come back to you when we have the South County check-in. I don't know if someone else if we've signed someone else to do a South County check-in, or if that's going to be you, and if it's just going to be part of your report. How would you like to handle that?
Well, good question. I don't know of anyone who stepped up. I'll begin to beat the bushes and see if we can get someone who could come on regularly, because there's a lot going on. You know, there are 6,000 people who live in the Nestucca School District, south of Pleasant Valley, clear down to Neskowin, and so they certainly need to be a part of what goes on in Tillamook County and know what's there. So I'll see if I can find someone who could keep up to date on some of those items, and I'll get right on that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, well, I will just share that last night I'm the chair of the Tillamook Bay Community College Board of Education. So last night I chaired the regular board meeting. Doug joined us, thank you, Doug, to talk about Tillamook Lightwave, which was very interesting. It was a great presentation. And what the board did last night that was very exciting was we approved a contract for Paul Jarrell to be the new president of TVCC effective February 1st. So Paul Jarrell has been with TVCC as a vice president for 18 months. He has a PhD, he has a terrific long resume, excellent resume, and we've had the benefit of working with him for 18 months, and he's very well, widely respected, and just does an excellent job, and the board was fully supportive, staff was fully supportive. It was just it was very, we did a nationwide recruitment, and we interviewed a number of people, 8 people, I think, and Paul was everyone's first choice. So it's on the board, you know, the board was unanimous in our support of Paul, and so I'm just very pleased to announce to the community. We didn't announce it until today because we didn't have a contract until last night. So Paul Jarrell will be the new president of TVCC, again, effective February 1st, and Ross, who is our current president, will stay on. We'll have a brief transition period. He'll stay on until February 10th, but, you know, Ross has been working with Paul for 18 months, so we don't need the same kind of transition period we would need with, you know, a new president who hadn't worked here. So we hope that the transition will be very smooth, and it should be. We have every reason to believe it will be. And, you know, now our community will need to say farewell to Ross, which is sad because he's been an excellent president for 7 years, but I'm happy for him that he and his wife can retire now. They've built a house in Lapine, and I think they're looking forward to moving to Lapine full-time and enjoying their retirement. So thank you, Ross, for your service, and welcome to Paul Jarrell. And also I wanted to report about the college, because this is exciting, that this week the new nursing program started. So we've been talking about this for a long time, and the community generously supported a bond to build a new healthcare education building. And so the building is not yet built. We'll have groundbreaking this spring, but the nursing program started this week, so winter term, and there are 17 nursing students, and today might be their second day, and I think it is their second day, and it's very exciting. There's about half of them are local people, and I am just thrilled about that. I'm thrilled that the college has provided this opportunity for local people to get training, to do work that is well paid, that pays a living wage, that is highly desirable. You know, their nurses are needed everywhere. So it's a huge benefit. It's a benefit to local families who want to live here and stay here and raise their kids here. It's a benefit to healthcare providers who need nurses. It's a benefit to our economy. It's a benefit to the organizations that have been overpaying for agency staff because they couldn't get local nurses. It's a benefit to us as patients. You know, absolutely everybody wins in this scenario, which makes me really happy. So I'm pleased to report that got off the ground. It's terrific. And I wanted to thank Dr. Lisa Steffi for coming to the board meeting last night. She is the medical director of Tillamook County Community Health Centers, and she came to give the TVCC board a presentation about what Tillamook County Community Health Centers does, and we talked about their need for nurses. There's such a shortage of nurses that Tillamook, and so she talked about how much they miss having nurses on their staff, but they just haven't been able to hire any. So Tillamook County Community Health Centers, as well as Adventist Health, will be partners in providing intern opportunities for nursing students, and also they're partners for intern opportunities for medical assistants. And so there's just a terrific partnership among local healthcare providers and TVCC, and it's heartening to me because that kind of partnership with the community and employers and growing professionals through the community college system to fill local jobs, that kind of stuff doesn't happen in the same way in urban colleges and urban communities. So it's really unique to us and very beneficial. It works really, really well. So my gratitude to everyone who is involved, and that's a lot of good news coming from TVCC. So I will stop there because we're running along and jump over to the city, starting with the city of Manzanita. Do we have anybody on from the city of Manzanita? How about the city of Nehalem? Or Wheeler? Or Rockaway Beach? We have Mayor McNeely on this morning. How about the city of Garibaldi?
Oh, Rockaway Beach is here. Sorry, I was trying to get myself unmuted.
That's okay.
So,
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you for understanding. Charles McNeely, Mayor of Rockaway Beach. I want to start by thanking the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office for their coverage of Rockaway Beach. I want Sheriff Brown to know that it is very much appreciated, and we really appreciate our partnership with Under Sheriff Matt Kelly. So thank you for that. Mentioned that our council workshop is this coming Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. in the City Hall. We're going to be discussing our City Council election process, elected official stipend, an SDR cap, and community grant applications. That'll be followed at 6 p.m. With our council meeting, and we'll get a presentation on our 2022-23 fiscal year financial audit results. There'll be a public hearing on amendments to Ordinance Chapter 113 related to STRs, specifically granting the council the authority to set a cap on short-term rentals. We're going to elect a council president for 2024, and then we're going to consider the fiscal year audit action plan. We're going to consider directing city staff to close city trails that are used to access recreational areas and post no access signs. We'll be looking at awarding additional community grants, and we'll be considering 4 resolutions touching on source water protection, including establishing a citizen advisory group. Our Public Works completed a scheduled supply pipe repair project at our Jetty Creek Water Treatment Plant. Our IT upgrade and conversion project is complete with an annual savings of about $12,000 a year, and we're now cloud-based and positioned for effective disaster recovery and business resumption. Our phone system conversion is complete, and that'll bring annual savings of about $6,000. And then this is both sad for our city, but exciting for Assistant Fire Chief Sean Vinson. He retired effective December 31st, 2023, after 35 years of service. We sincerely thank him for his years of exemplary service to the city of Rockaway Beach. And then finally, Tillamook County Visitors Association chose the city of Rockaway Beach to receive their Tourism Award for Excellence in Tourism Leadership. With that, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have any questions for Mayor? Do we have any questions for Mayor McNeely? Well, I appreciate your report. So we can move on to the city of Garibaldi. Do we have anybody here from Garibaldi?
Yes, hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good. So we had a good planning commission meeting last night. Gotta love when planning commission night falls on New Year's Day. There was a lot of legislative prep work last night with a workshop to come in 2 weeks. So they had finished and completed training with the DLCD rep Brett Estes last month, and they're putting the finishing touches on food truck legislation, as well as working on improving the density of business and housing on the downtown and commercial zones without sacrificing the city's character, which is a fine balance in such a small place. City Council has a meeting on Monday, and it's definitely going to be a pretty stacked agenda. We are already eyeballing January 31st to do a goal-setting workshop so that we're not going to kind of kill ourselves in a single meeting. But that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for Garibaldi? Let's move on to the City of Bay City. Do we have anyone on from Bay City? If not, we'll move on to the City of Tillamook. Do we have Nathan George with us this morning?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, we can.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you very much. In our police department, the holiday weekend last week was busy as usual, yet manageable. Even with the city offices closed for New Year's holiday, our officers were still very busy with calls for service. And last week, Lieutenant Trox was a guest on Tillamook Today's show, KTIL 95.9 last Tuesday. We thank KTIL for the invitation and accessibility to share all the good things that are happening in our police department. Our executive assistant, Lacey Larson, has been very busy working with the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office updating our police records management system. We really appreciate this partnership. And Lieutenant Trox continues to partner with the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office and Manzanilla Police Department on updating our property evidence management system. We certainly appreciate those partnerships. For your information, in the month of December, the Tillamook Police Department took 976 calls for service, had 214 traffic stops, issued 186 citations, had 16 arrests. That's all with 10 sworn officers. These monthly reports are provided to City Council and are available on the city's website. And for your information, the monthly calls for service generally average over 1,000 calls, which is over 12,000 a year. In the Public Works Department, the Water Distribution Division staff are reading water meters this week. Please do not park on or block access to your water meters so we can ensure an accurate read. This is very important for billing correctly and detecting inevitable water leaks that may not be visible. An unusually high read can often indicate a water leak or even a running toilet, which can unexpectedly spike your water bill. Utility payments are due on the 15th of the month, and charges can be made on our website at tillamookor.gov by coming into City Hall in person or over the phone by calling our main number, which is 503-842-2472. You can always find it on our website. Due to the stormy weather and high wind, we want to remind the public to use caution while driving, avoid roads with high water and debris, and be mindful of barricades and closed road signs. The street division will be sweeping the streets this week in our street sweeper. Please be mindful of equipment and staff. As always, for public works inquiries, please contact Public Works at tillamookor.gov. That's just one word, publicworks@tillamookor.gov. That's our email. Or call our main number at 503-842-2472, which again is on our website. We also have several positions available at the City of Tillamook. Please stop by or visit our website for an application. Reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for emergencies and dispatch for non-emergencies. And I'd like to ask everyone, as Sheriff Brown has talked about, I'd like to ask everyone to remember that today is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. If you see or know of anyone serving, please thank them for their service. Law enforcement is a very difficult and stressful field to live in and serve in. If it wasn't for our officers and all those that serve in Tillamook County, our nation, even throughout the world, we would not have and would not be able to enjoy our freedom and safety. City Hall will be closed on Monday, January 15th, in observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and in honor of his vision and dream to make our nation a better and more respectful place. And the next council meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 16th at 7 p.m. We encourage anyone interested in your local government to attend virtually or in person. Also, the agenda is posted online at City Hall on the Thursday before the meeting by close of business. You can always contact our Deputy City Recorder, Tammy Heitzman, with any questions. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Do we have any questions for Nathan? If not, we'll do a final call for South County. Commissioner Olson, did you have anything else you want to share for South County?
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. I don't think so. We covered the Sand Lake Road, which is the biggest issue that I'm aware of in South County. I will go back, however, to what others have said. This time of year, it's dark in the morning and dark on your way home, and there's been two significant accidents, the one, the school bus, and then I believe there was another on Highway 101. And, you know, it's just a treacherous drive, and so I would encourage people who are up early and must drive, be very, very careful, because there's a lot of folks on the road and things happen when you can't see where you're going. So, as I mentioned earlier, I will try and get someone who can speak to a number of the issues as they move forward in South County. So more to come on that one. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Well, then we will adjourn this meeting at 9:14. I'd like to thank KTIL for broadcasting, thank everyone for participating, and thank you, Tillamook County, for listening.